guys, and welcome to my DIY channel. Today's video has 5 spring DIYs and a creative champion contest coming your way. For this project, we're going to be using this sign that I got from Hobby Lobby. It was in their clearance section for only $1.99. So I went ahead and I popped this out because I want to redo the inside part of this. So I went ahead and I gave it a light sanding, and then I went ahead and gave it a couple coats of chalk paint in the color Plaster by Waverly. I also painted the frame because even though it was already white, I was using plaster and I didn't want the two colors to contrast, so I painted it plaster as well. Using this scrapbook paper that I picked up from Joann's, I went ahead and traced this with my fingers. Actually, I just kind of pressed down on it to indent the circle so that I could use that as a pattern to cut out the circle because we are going to be keeping the outer part. For some distressing, I went ahead and I gave all of the edges just a quick light sanding. And then using some wood glue, I glued down my paper to the outer edge. I really like to use wood glue whenever gluing paper to any type of wood. I feel like it works really good. You want to just use really good coverage, but use a thin layer. There's just a little bit less moisture content than Mod Podge, and I feel like it doesn't wrinkle or ripple my paper as much. And then I went ahead and I put the paper onto it where I wanted it to be and lined it up so that it fit as best as it could around the circle and toward the edges of the frame. Once that was completely dry, I did put a layer of Mod Podge on top just to seal the paper down and give it a kind of a matte finish look. Using a combination of some wood glue and my hot glue, which I use Gorilla Hot Glue because it works so good, you guys. Gorilla Glue, I completely recommend it. It just holds everything really good. But I went ahead and I reassembled my sign all back together. And then I used this vinyl decal right here that just says hello, and I love that it was in a circle, so I measured it out to be the size of the circle that you see here, and we are just going to be applying this to the middle part of this sign. Once that was done, I went ahead and I used some black Waverly chalk paint to give the edges a little bit of distressing, and I also did some distressing around the edges of the frame, and this project was done. And I love how this turns out because I love that the floral is for spring, but I think that I also could carry it all throughout the summer, maybe even year round. As I mentioned before, today's video is part of the Creative Champion contest hosted by Heidi Sonboul. There are 10 contestants total, and you guys get to pick the winner by voting. Click on the link in my description box down below, and you guys will be taken over to Heidi's channel with instructions on how to vote. Also, this is a hop, and so you guys can click on the next girl in line down below, and it will take you to her video, and then you will be able to see all of the girls' videos in the contest. For this next DIY, you are actually seeing the completed look for this project because this is the project in which I submitted to Heidi Sonboul over on her channel. She has taken a project from each girl in the contest and she's compiled it into a video that I have linked down below in my description box for you guys to go and check out. So if you'd like to see how I made this, and if you'd like to see what each of the girls made, please go check out that video. In Heidi's description box, there will be a link that she will have for you to click on to take you where you can vote, because you guys get to pick who the winner is. The voting will be open until Sunday night at midnight, and then there will be 4 girls that will be eliminated in this first round. For this next DIY, I will be using this wood right here. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna get it cut down to size, and I'm actually going to be making this project 2 ways because I made a mistake and cut the wood wrong the first time, and so then I decided to show you what I could do with the wood that I accidentally cut the wrong way. So the first thing we're going to be doing is I cut these planks into 7-inch segments, and then I cut a 30-degree angle on each of them. You guys, I saw this on YouTube. I saw this little trick here on YouTube. I will try to have that video link down below for you to give the credit that I saw, but you turn them over and you use painter's tape to put these pieces of wood together on the back like this, and then you make sure that you give yourself a tail. And then I had to make sure I had to fix a few pieces because they were not very straight, so make sure that they're straight. So after I fixed those, we were ready to go. Using some wood glue, I went ahead and put it in between each one of the angle cuts, and again, the angle cuts are at a 30-degree angle, and there are 6 pieces total because we are going to be making hexagon shelves. I technically was only going to make 1, but I made a mistake. But look at this, you just use the paint tape to roll this up, and then you glue it together, and then it's a double win. It holds it in place for you to create the shape, and then it also holds it in place for you while the glue dries. So now that the glue is dried, we're going to be taking our painter's tape off so that we can go on to the next step, which is staining. If you're new here, then you will see how much I love to stain wood. It's one of my favorite things to do. I think that it gives it a really nice rustic farmhouse look, and so it matches all of my decor. And this is actually my favorite color of stain. It's the Minwax brand in the color Jacobian, and it's my favorite. If you guys have been here for a while, you know that it's my favorite, and I use it on all of my wood projects. Then using this really skinny flat plank wood, I don't even know what this is called. It's kind of it's thicker than balsa wood, but it's perfect for this project. But I went ahead and I'm cutting this down to size. I am using my chop saw to make these cuts, but I work out in my garage. For those of you who don't know, this room that I'm in right now is heated, but the saw is not heated, so I don't take my camera out there just because it's so cold. But I went ahead and I traced this all out so that I could have a back to this little shelf and then a little half shelf in the front. Using this scrapbook paper that you can get from Hobby Lobby, I went ahead and I traced this out so that it could be on the top piece so that you could see this on the inside of my shelf. Using some wood glue again, because it is my favorite to glue paper onto wood, I went ahead and I got this smoothed on as best I could. I do use my finger just because sometimes I'm either lazy or I'm trying to save on paintbrushes. It's hard to say because I mean, it's both. I'm lazy. I didn't want to get a paintbrush and I'm cheap. So I use my finger and get this scrapbook paper glued down. And now it's time to assemble everything. So I use some wood glue first, just to make sure that it sticks really, really good. And because we're working with really thin wood, but I'm also going to be using my pneumatic staple gun to make sure that these staple on and stay in place really well, because I want this to stay together. And then once I have all the pieces on, I of course need to, the pieces sized, I need to make sure that everything is stained. So that front piece is stapled on, but the back, I went ahead and I got those stained first just to give it a little bit more of a completed look, because you will be able to see down inside that, so I wanted that to be stained and also that front piece to be stained. Using some tape to hold it together while I flipped it over so that I could staple it together, I went ahead and I was able to keep it all together using the tape. That flipped it over really well and it was nice and sturdy. And here it is, all ready for some floral. Okay, so here's the second part of this project. This is using the wood in which I accidentally cut the wrong way, so it is a flat frame. And you can see right here, even though all the cuts were 30 degrees, it actually left this bottom piece as just too big for the frame. I don't know why. I don't know what I did wrong, other than I cut the whole thing wrong. So I guess that's what I did wrong. But I went ahead and I was like, instead of wasting this, I can make this work because I can cover that part up with a bow. So I cut that part down and made it fit. And then I glued it together using some hot glue and some wood glue. So it is a little bit smaller than the rest of the frame, but like I said, we're gonna be covering that up with a bow, and so it ends up working out okay. Using some just random leftover chicken wire, I went ahead and I stapled this to the back. I also gave this a quick layer of wax coating, and I don't even know the brand, but I wanted it to be a lighter brown. So I went ahead and I put some wax on that. And then using my staple gun, I went ahead and I stapled the chicken wire to the back of it and then used my wire cutters to cut off all of the excess. I wanted the chicken wire to match the color of the rustic brown, so using the wax again, I went ahead and I painted it all over the wire, and I really let that dry so that it didn't rub off, and this actually worked out really good. And here's that giant bow that I was telling you about so that we could hide our little mistake for our little runt piece of wood there, but I went ahead and I tied that out of some burlap, and then I also used some buffalo check ribbon to do a cute little bow on top of that as well. And then using some of this white lavender that you can get at the Dollar Tree, which is so pretty right now, I went ahead and I wrapped some jute twine down at the base and cut this down to size so that we could put this on here. I used a little piece of jute twine to tie the floral to the back of the wire so that it didn't go anywhere, and then just for some extra security, I put some hot glue right there on the bottom to keep that part in place. And then we went ahead and glued on our distractive bow that is again covering up that piece down there. It's embellishing it too a little bit, but here it is. This is the completed look, and these are the hexagon shelves 2 ways. I definitely was not planning on making this second project, but I'm really glad that I didn't just chuck the wood and give up on it, because I love how it turns out. I love that they're different colors. I love that they're different styles. I love the just different look that each one of them brings. You didn't see me put any floral in that first hexagon shelf right there, but I just used some lamb's ear from Walmart, and I did put some jute twine on the front to give it a little bit of embellishment. I actually filmed this and I don't know what happened to the footage, but this is the completed look of both of them, and like I said, I love both of them, but you guys will have to let me know down below which one you like better out of the two. Also, if you guys don't know, this video is also a collaboration with a really awesome girl here on YouTube. Her name is Kathy Jo, and she is hilarious, you guys. I will have her link down below. Please make sure that you go check her out because she is very talented, and I am so grateful that I had the chance to collaborate with her. This next project is going to be a smaller project for something like a tiered tray or maybe some floating shelves, just kind of a little accent piece. So we were going to make this really, really quick, but using some paper that you can get from Joann's, and then using these little wooden tiles that you can get from Walmart, I went ahead and I cut up the paper. I stained the edges of this wood because I wanted it to be darker underneath. And then using some wood glue, I went ahead and glued the little paper cut out onto just a scrap piece of wood that I had left over from an old Dollar Tree sign. And then I also put some Mod Podge on the top to seal this in place. And then using some Waverly chalk paint in the color plaster, I went ahead and I went over the top of this frame really good. Like I said, I wanted that stain to show through, but I really wanted this to be mostly white, but that stain helped to give it just a little bit of distressing coming through, and I love how it just gave it some depth and a little bit of a rustic look, but not too much because like I said, it's gonna be mostly the lighter color. And then using some more paper that I got from Joann's, I cut out a little square, and using some wood glue again, I went ahead and I glued some paper down into the bottom of our little wood plank here to be the background for our little tag that we're going to be putting on here. And then I just used some wood glue and some hot glue to put this down in the center, and I used a little jute twine bow to put right there in the corner as embellishment, and this little project was done, you guys. And for the last DIY, we're going to be using this sign that you can get from the Dollar Tree, because I'm going to be making another sign, some more of that skinny wood. And then this is some leftover wood that I made from another project, but I didn't ever end up using it. It actually has a line, a groove cut down the middle of it, and we're going to be using that to put our sign down into. So I went ahead and I saved this little bunny, set it aside to use for some spring Easter DIYs. And then I went ahead and I cut this little sign down, which cut really, really easy. And then I just went ahead and, using some white Waverly chalk paint, I gave this a very, very good coat and let it dry. I measured these out to about 6 inches long, cut them down, and then went ahead and used the Jacobian colored stain to get both the little pieces right here stained and also the outer edges of the frame stained. Right here you see me assembling everything onto the little sign that I'm making here. I also put the sides on, but I'm actually not assembling the whole frame yet. I am going to glue on the pieces in the middle, but the outside of the frame I'm putting on right now just to make sure that I'm centering those pieces on within the frame, but we'll be building that in just a minute. And then using some vinyl, I went ahead and I just cut out the words "enjoy the little things" with actually some floral that kind of, I wanted it to come up and around. I actually saw a sign like this at Joann's and I was inspired to make it myself. So I went ahead and I put this vinyl on with the floral, and then I was able to build the sides of my frame. I went ahead and I just used my pneumatic staple gun to staple this together, and then that back part of the sign just slides right down into those grooves. And here it is, all done. I love how simple it is. I love that I can also keep it up year round, but the floral adds just a little touch of spring. And here they are. Here's all my projects together. So I hope you guys will leave me a comment down below and let me know which one was your favorite. And please don't forget to go over and check out that last project that I have in Heidi's video. And please be sure to go over to Heidi's channel to click in her description box so that you guys can see how to vote. Each person is allowed to vote once, and the voting will be open until Sunday at midnight, just like I said before. I hope that I've earned your guys' vote, but please make sure that you guys go and vote for the person that you want to win. For information on how to vote, make sure you go check out Heidi Sonboul's channel, because she has the instructions and she will have the link that you will need to click on to go and vote. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for being here. And also, don't worry, there definitely will be an end segment today, because if you guys are new here or if you don't know what I do here on my channel, at the end of all my videos, I do a quick little uplifting message, because I want to find a way to give back to you guys and add some more value to your lives. So that way, if you're uninterested, you came for the crafts and the DIYs, that's totally fine. You can shut it off right here. But if not, I would love for you guys to stick around, because again, today's is such a good one. If you guys watched my last video, I talked about Darren Hardy and how he does messages daily. He is a daily mentor. I have another video from him, you guys, because I am on a Darren Hardy spree. I've gone down the rabbit hole. He's amazing, and he's just filling up my container with amazing goodness, and I just get so excited that I have to share it with you guys. So today's end segment is a summarization of his video, which will be linked down below for you, on how to have more courage. I don't know about you guys, but does anybody else need more courage? Because, like, I need all the courage in the world. We don't really worry so much about the mass murderers in the dark, unless I guess you live in a really scary place, and in that case, good luck. One of our biggest worries is being foolish, right? I don't know if that's for everybody, but it definitely was mine. He's just hits the nail on the head. We worry about our images, how we look, how we present ourselves, the things that we do. We don't want anybody to see us make mistakes. We don't want anybody to see us being human, right? At least I know that I don't. I don't want you guys to see my messy garage. But he talks about how being foolish is the best way to overcome the fear of being foolish. The best way to overcome fear is to basically walk through it. You have to get through it. You have to be uncomfortable. You have to stretch. You have to grow. You have to work through it. And once you do it over and over and over, it really becomes less scary because you become more comfortable with it. It's not so much uncomfortable anymore. He says to write down 3 things that scare you, 3 things that truly scare you, and then start working on that list. Start at the top, the first one, and start working on that thing that scares you. Do it, face it, conquer it, but have the courage to do the things that make you uncomfortable. Have the courage to be foolish. Be yourself. We don't grow when we are not comfortable. We don't grow when we aren't doing hard things. We don't grow if we're not making mistakes. We don't grow if we're not facing fear. If we are not trying to become courageous every single day, and you guys can do that every single day. You can try to do something every day that will help you to build more courage, to grow and to push yourself, to stretch, to mold, and to try. Just try. How many of us don't even want to try? I'll tell you guys right now, I've been on YouTube since 2015 and I didn't fully commit until 2019. 4 years, you guys, 4 years of fear about what you guys would think, about what people would say, about how I would be, how I would act. And it turns out, you know what? I really like it. I don't know, you guys, there's a few people here and I'm so happy with that. So it turns out that, you know, maybe I am super weird, but there's a bunch of people who don't mind how weird I am. This is one thing that I'm doing right now is I'm facing a fear and I am trying to find my courage. I'm doing things that are uncomfortable. All right, you guys, you got a little bit more than what you asked for in this end segment, but please make sure that you go check out the video down below about how to be courageous because Darren Hardy always nails it on the head. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for being here. Thanks for your comments, your kindness, your uplifting words. And like I said, if you guys would like to, I would love your votes. If you guys would like to, I would love your vote. Make sure you check out all of the girls down below and check out Kathy Joe. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will stop talking now and I will see you guys next time. Bye guys.